Now, there are protocols set in play out there in the channeling world. There's taking energy from other sources in order to channel a message. I'll talk about that in a sec. You're all channelers in some way, shape, or form. She's donned the mask of many different women throughout time to convince people that she should be worshipped. But if you're plugging into that energy, which a lot of people were last year, late last year, and even way throughout the year, some entities can be so strong that their spiritual energy literally can engulf an entire state. Here are some things that you need to know before you start channeling. Channeling is the ability to channel any non-material being into the body, namely ghosts, spirit guides, as well as other forces that can come into your body and influence the way that you speak, sometimes literally putting words into your mouth, the way that you move, and the things that you look at, as your body becomes a puppet for another spirit. There are many people that do this, and some of them are quite famous, such as Bashar, for example. Myself, not so famous. I used to channel, but not because I learnt it from a master or a book. I was initiated into channeling by beings that found me whilst I was on ayahuasca. They then continued to open up specific channels within my body over a period of 4 days. And whilst this was all happening, my body would throw itself up. I have a video on it. I'll put a link to it somewhere. But my body would throw itself up. Hand would come over, drag me around like this, as beings would come into my back, into my energy bodies, and start tinkering around back there. They would make sure that they could come in, multiple of them at a time, to view my memories, to pull out traumas. The experience that I was going through at the time was called psychic surgery. It's when beings go through the body in order to uproot anything that's blocking you throughout life. And it's mostly seen at ayahuasca ceremonies. Now, this psychic surgery, again, allowed me the ability to channel, but I didn't do it right away. Matter of fact, I was actually against channeling for the longest time, and then I became more open to it about a couple of years later. I just kind of kept it secret, kept it to myself. I tried it for a client, and I managed to contact a dead relative. I can't remember the entire experience right now. All I knew was that going completely cold, it convinced me to start doing this for more people. After sharing it on my YouTube channel, others wanted the service too. So I started doing it, and I did it for about 1.5 years until I had to stop. And that is why I'm making this video today. I want to tell you some things that you should consider before you decide to go down the same route that I did back then. I completely stopped for these reasons. Now, the first reason is that when you channel entities, even if you believe that you are protected, and you are, to an extent, there are going to be some negative beings that enter your space. There are going to be some negative beings that come into your body. After about 8 beings that would come in and through my body, one at a time, sometimes multiple of them at the same time, out of every 8, about 3 of them was negative. They would come into the room with the sinister energy. They would growl. They would start knocking things around the room whilst the client is on screen. Sometimes they could jump through the camera and touch people. The negative beings made things hard. Of course, I had positive beings coming through, positive spirit guides. I had different saints coming through, like Saint Barbara. I didn't even know who that was until she showed up with the with the navy blue cape, the white crown, and the pink colored under the cape, as the cape was double-sided. I didn't even know that there was a Saint Barbara. I didn't even know that the reason why I was called to channel her on that day was because the person that I was speaking to used to be Catholic, and that she used to pray specifically to Saint Barbara. The amount I was channeling at the time, I could have been a billionaire. Most people take this skill to these extremes. But with every negative entity came a drawback. I would become what I call channel sick. And after a while of looking it up, a lot of channelers, even the most famous ones, would experience this channel sickness. It's like having a cone in the body from around about the sternum, the solar plexus chakra, all the way up to the crown, becoming overwhelmed with energy that makes you feel nauseous. It's literally like being seasick. I'd have to stop and take a break. I'd then open the door again and let beings come in. Because my skill of channeling was induced by a psychedelic, not when I was doing it on call, but because that's how I was wired for it in the beginning, my skill to channel became quite psychedelic. So I got a wide range of experiences happening, not just entities coming in, but I could see things too. But less about me, more about you. Channel sickness, it's a thing. So be careful if you're going to start channeling. If you're going to channel multiple times a day, 3 or 4 times a day, you're probably going to start to crash, at which point it's best to stop. Because no amount of cleaning or cleansing is going to make you feel okay. It's stopping and closing that door completely. That's what makes you bounce back. After that, if you still choose to, you can come back around to it, sure. But like I did, I would just keep getting sick. Now there are protocols set in play out there in the channeling world. There's taking energy from other sources in order to channel a message. I'll talk about that in a sec, because that's actually what I landed on. That's what I settled with in a moment. But let's just swing back around to negative entities. Another caution when it comes to channeling. You don't just channel negative entities, you channel negative spirits. Now, what do I mean by spirits? I'm referring to them as separate things as opposed to negative entities. I'm talking about the spiritual energy that negative beings exude. You ever been around a person that's just great to be around? You say, oh, they're in high spirits. You're feeling, sometimes it's a little contagious. You're feeling the good energy, the good vibes coming off of that person, right? Well, then you would say they're in high spirits. They are a soul emanating their essence out towards you. Well, entities do the exact same thing, and some entities can be so strong that their spiritual energy literally can engulf an entire state, an entire country. Very easy, actually, especially when participants are so willing to tune into said energy. You're all channelers in some way, shape, or form, because there are negative entities whose job it is to literally influence you with their energy, to make your mind move into a specific direction, to change your behaviors. You tune into them all of the time through your phones and through your TV screens, but enough of that. I'm not here to give you a lecture. I'm just saying, sometimes when you sit down in front of a person and you conduct yourself in such a way to open yourself up to such energies, this energy comes in too. You might find yourself becoming more angry than usual, becoming more possessive than usual, becoming more aroused than usual. These are coming from specific deities with a big blanket of energy. These deities are known as old gods. You can look them up. Look up Ishtar. She's actually a goddess. Well, actually, I'm not going to call her a goddess because she shouldn't be worshipped. Her mindset, the way she conducts herself, isn't positive. It isn't light and love. Trust me. She's donned the mask of many different women throughout time to convince people that she should be worshipped. But if you're plugging into that energy, which a lot of people were last year, late last year, and even way throughout the year, if you're channeling the Ishtar energy that is perverting the spiritual community, heck, I saw a website dedicated towards spiritual porn the other day. A lot of New Agers were committing to that, No, no, it's not right. That energy, Ishtar's energy, this influence is influencing people within the spiritual community because, of course, spiritual communities center around specific elements of religion as well as certain spiritual ideologies within certain cultures, such as this figure of Ishtar. People start creating monuments to her, altars to her, to channel her energy. Your old channelers, watch out as to who you subscribe to. If you become a channeler full time, you're going to get a whole bunch of energies coming your way, and you should be able to discern them after some time. Now, going back to the energy that I told you is better to pull from, as you start to distinguish between negative entities, ghosts, spirit guides, saints, as well as these shimmers, these waves of spirit coming from negative as well as positive entities, you'll notice the positive entities. You'll notice the positive thought forms created by positive people on the planet that pray towards a specific thought form, thus imbuing that thought form with positive energy. The word for these thought forms are egregors, or tulpas, Especially in Hindu practice, you'll find a lot of them. Especially if you astral project, you'll see a lot of these thought forms that people pray to, giving it energy, giving it life. Well, God, the universe, source consciousness, people call it by so many names. The Absolute is one that's popped up recently, but I'm sure that's an old term. It has its spirit too. It has its energy too that influences everyone. It's been influencing you since you were born, although most people have gotten very good at blocking it out. It's that common sense that's over your shoulder. It's that whisper of maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should do this for myself. Maybe I should do that for the other person. That good feeling, me just saying it right now, is getting me cold because this spirit, as well as other spirits, make you cold as they enter a room. This one gives you energy when you channel it. So, who are you going to channel? As this spirit comes in, again, you were born with it, but people have gotten very good at subduing it. This spirit has been talked about for so long. As this spirit comes in, it makes you a higher vibration, thus making you a holier person. There are certain entities that will hate you because of it. In the Bible, it's known as the Holy Spirit. In the New Age community and other offshoots of the spiritual community, they refer to it as spirit. But I find that can be deadly because you can sometimes lose the ability to discern which spirit you're channeling. Are you channeling Ishtar? Are you channeling Baal? Are you channeling these other war-type energies? Confusing type energies that will confuse a person's mind and change their behaviors. Okay, maybe more on that later, but I would honestly suggest you check out Isaac's video. I'll leave a link for his video in the description below. It's great. It's great stuff. Are you channeling these people's energies? This spirit that makes you holier, the Holy Spirit, everything that you want out of life will happen if you let it come into you. You've already been doing it if you do any type of chakra meditations. If you focus on the crown and you let the energy, that white light come into you, guess what? That's the same thing. It's the same thing. People have been influenced very easily into blocking certain elements of what will help them. So again, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to veer off into different topics a little too much. Just know that it's a concern. If you're going to start channeling long term, be sure to know who you're plugging into, not just the negative entities, but also the positive spirits. Now, I'm going to swing back around to protection. Yes, there's a lot of ways to protect yourself. There's sage, there's different types of incense sticks, there's certain types of prayers and visualizations, and you name it. There are certain ways to conduct your space. I've tried a lot of them. From different cultures, from Celtic backgrounds, from Greek backgrounds, from Christian backgrounds. Christian ones work quite a bit. There are so many different ways to cleanse yourself and to make sure that you stay safe throughout a channeling, but there will always be, just like a psychedelic experience, a negative aspect of the experience, something coming in. Do not deceive yourself by thinking that you're going to be completely safe. I'm not saying that you're not strong. I'm not saying that you're not mighty and maybe, I'm going to be honest, maybe you're not. I've never been strong my entire life. That type of wishful thinking can be dangerous. It doesn't mean you can't get stronger. It doesn't mean you can't get better. But let's be honest, there are things beyond us that can come in and swoop you out from under your feet and have you convince yourself to go along with it. These negative entities, you channel them into your body, you're risking a lot. So just be very wary of what happens. What else? Identity fractures. That can happen quite a lot when you channel any being, positive and or negative. When an entity comes into the body, it can, especially if it lives there for a while, maybe it's a specific one you just tune into, after a while, you'll be walking around the house, you're not even channeling anymore, but you think that you are St. Nicholas. Maybe that is a saint. I'm pretty sure that's a saint. Sounds familiar. I don't know. I just said it on the spot. St. Nicholas. Maybe you think you are Jesus. Still a lot of people like that. Maybe you think you are Cleopatra, a reincarnation of an Egyptian goddess or god or Ra. These are identity fractures that happen when a soul has many other beings inside it. It slowly starts to break the psyche of a person. If you can't meld yourself back together, be warned, you're going to be walking around changing your profile picture and your username, thinking that you are someone that you're not. Now, I know I'm sounding like a bit of a Debbie Downer here, and I'm sorry. I apologize. If you clicked on this video to feel uplifted and to be inspired to channel, this probably isn't doing it for you. But I hope I am painting a picture of the reality of the fact of what happens during channelings. I prefer to stay tuned into the Holy Spirit. If that's triggering you, there are reasons for that. You shouldn't be triggered by saying the word that so many people have said in a different variation for so long, just because I put the word holy in front of it. If you are, there's something behind you, attached to you or in you, and or has made its way in your mind, whether it's influenced by word of mouth, pictures, or entity-wise, that is hating what I'm saying because it could free you from literal shackles. If you feel uncomfortable, if you're getting mad at me, no, you're not getting mad at me. Something in you is getting mad with the message. With the message. It sounds confusing if you're coming from a headspace where you think everything has to be separate. Religion, spirituality, New Age spirituality, other forms of spirituality. But if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you'll see that they're all really talking about the same thing. And if you're tuned in, chakras are spinning properly, you're operating properly, you're centered, everything I'm saying should be making sense to you. I don't channel anymore. Channeling made me sick. I haven't been convinced that other channelers don't go through the same thing, because I've only seen other channelers go through the same thing. Yes, I could channel into just one thing and call it a day, like Bashar, but I guess I'm kind of doing that already with the Holy Spirit. It gives me messages all the time. It's listening to you right now. It's weird. It can see you, and it knows what's going through your mind right now. It's telling me through feeling. It comes through the body, and it can use words if it wants to, but it usually does that in dreams. It will actually show up in my dreams and change the whole dream to give me an answer. And right now I can really feel it's getting very strong because I'm talking about it and it likes it. It enjoys me saying this to you because it knows that it can influence you in a positive light. It's been trying to for so long. There's a saying in Hinduism, which is that if you don't listen to the universe, you become a rusty cog. Then the universe spits you out. This is the direction I feel like I'm supposed to be going in. It's not a personal feeling that I have towards this moment. It's a feeling that's coming from outside of me into the body. And for this reason, I'm going to be talking about this constantly. Every video I make is going to be somewhat beholden to this image of spirituality, which is perfection. It's purity. It's evolution. Yes, superpowers included. Yes, astral projection included, but be careful. You know? I hope I can serve you well, and I hope that I can give you the right information, and I hope I don't tick you guys off too much. And I hope that a lot of you actually embrace what I'm saying and feel good when I say this and feel lighter when I say this. The words that I said today should have freed you up. The words that I said today should make everything around you feel quiet. Do you feel it? That's because anything negative around you has been washed out if you're still watching at this point, and the Holy Spirit's in your space right now. Negative things can't stand it. When you talk about it, you invite that energy into your space. When you listen to it, you invite that energy into your space. Am I a Christian? No, I must say that, because a lot of people wonder when I start talking like this if I've converted to Christianity. No. But I've been told many times that that way is still better than many other ways that are coming at you, and that will keep coming at you throughout the next 20 years. There will be new forms of religion, new forms of spirituality, each one constantly refined to influence you towards the wrong direction. Be careful. Other than that, I gotta go. Yeah, careful when you channel. I don't think I have anything else to say in regards to channeling. Channeling aliens?